Hi and welcome back to Cut the Craggle. Today we're going to be taking a look at my third custom LEGO Back to the Future Collectible Minifigures Series. Previously, I've created two custom minifig series based on the first two movies. This time, we're focusing on the final installment in the trilogy, Back to the Future Part 3. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the first two series, and remember, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now, let's get right to it. It's time to reveal the first custom minifigure in this series. First up, we have Marty McFly. This one is based on the colourful costume he is dressed in by 1955 Doc Brown before travelling back in time to the Old West. He comes with a brand new printed torso with printed arms, legs with printing even on the sides of his legs, and if you look closely, you'll see that Marty is actually still wearing his 80s era trainers, after losing his cowboy boots to a hungry bear. For his accessory, Marty comes with a brand new printed 1x1 tile for the photograph of Doc Brown's gravestone. On one side of his head, he has this very worried look and expression, and then he has the alternate face print based on the scene when he is rescued by 1885 Doc Brown after being dragged through the dirt by Mad Dog Tannen. When Marty arrives in 1885, the first person he bumps into is his great-great-grandfather, Seamus McFly. In fact, he bumps into him quite literally. In the movie, Michael J. Fox played both Marty and Seamus, so when designing this figure, I based his face print around my previous designs for Marty to show the family resemblance, but gave him a ginger beard and eyebrows. As well as a new printed torso, Seamus has a new dual molded hairpiece showing off his shaggy red hair under this dog ugly hat. And as well as this cheerful smile, he has a second face print with a much more somber or concerned expression. Headed into the Palace Saloon, we have Chester the bartender, a man who seemingly never sleeps. Seriously, watch the film back. When does he sleep? This minifigure has a brand new printed torso with printed arms, and a printed design for his apron that starts on his hips and carries over to his legs. He uses the Flitwick hairpiece in dark bluish grey, and as well as this welcoming smile, he has a second face print with a rather perplexed look. For his accessory, he comes with a glass mug of his special home-brewed wake-up juice that he mixes together to revive Doc Brown after he's passed out. Next up is the stinkiest gun in the West, Buford Mad Dog Tannen. Since Biff's ancestor was also played by Thomas F. Wilson in the movie, I looked to my previous Biff designs when creating his new face print, and then bearded him up. I deliberately used a few different colours for his beard to give it a dirty, unkept look. The design for Mad Dog's torso is inspired by the character's brief appearance in the LEGO Dimensions video game, but I wanted to add in more muck and grime, so his clothes are littered with gross stains. He also uses dual molded legs for his boots, with printing for the bottom of his jacket and his hip holster. Mad Dog comes with a brand new dual molded hat and hairpiece, and underneath that, he even has a second face print for when he's unexpectedly face-planted a cartload of horse manure. Then it's Doc Brown to the rescue! This version is based on the scene when he saves Marty from being hanged by Buford Tannen and his gang. Even though Doc is not overly fond of violence, I love the old veteran gunslinger look he sports here. The design for Doc Brown's long duster-style coat runs the entire length of his torso, over the hips, and even onto his legs. For his accessory, this Doc comes with an assembly for the custom sniper rifle, complete with oversized scope that he uses to shoot the noose Marty has been hung from. Like Seamus and Buford before him, he also has a new combined hat and hairpiece. And underneath that, he even has a second face print with a very panicked expression. Watch out slackers, it's Marshall Strickland! I had originally intended on including a different version of Strickland in every one of my Back to the Future minifigure series, but each time he ended up getting cut to make room for other characters. So this time, I knew it was my last chance. Just like his future grandson, Marshall Strickland is obsessed with discipline, as illustrated by that magnificent moustache and goatee. He has a new printed torso, a scattergun for his accessory, and he's topped off with this brand new combined hat and hairpiece. Then we have Doc Brown's future wife, Clara Clayton. This minifig is based on the outfit she wears in the final act of the movie, when she realises Doc was telling the truth about being a time traveller and races after him to declare her love. Clara has a modified long plait hairpiece that now has a hole on top so that you can attach this recolor of the Red Harrington hat piece from the LEGO Lone Ranger theme. I did break my own rule of this minifig. Well, it's actually more of a guideline than a rule. Usually, I prefer to use actual minifig legs rather than slope dress pieces, but for Clara's period costume, I felt the curved slope piece actually worked better. As well as this really happy wide smile, Clara also has a second face print with a very surprised expression, and for accessory, she has this little assembly for the model DeLorean she discovers in Doc's workshop. Then we have Clint Eastwood. Marty McFly. This version is based on the outfit Marty wears in the movie's climactic final act when he faces Mad Dog Tannen and escapes Back to the Future. This is a really iconic look for Marty from the third film, so I wanted to make sure I got the design right. As well as another new combined hat and hairpiece and printed legs, this Marty also comes with a brand new print for the poncho fabric piece. But underneath that poncho, Marty even has a printed torso with a design that includes the stove plate he uses as a makeshift bulletproof vest. This Marty actually reuses the same head print I created for 2015 Marty in Series 2, as I really liked the two different expressions and thought they fit this version just as well. Safely back in 1985, Marty picks up his truck and heads straight to the home of his girlfriend, Jennifer Parker. Of course, I already made a Jennifer minifigure based on how she appears in the beginning of the first movie as played by Claudia Wells. But when parts 2 and 3 were made, Jennifer was recast and Elizabeth Shue took over the role. She has a brand new hairpiece with extra curls in dark orange for the second Jennifer's auburn locks, and a brand new face print. Whilst this minifig is based on the Elizabeth Shue version of the character, technically she's wearing the same outfit that Claudia Wells wore at the end of the first movie, so you could switch out the head and hairpiece if you wanted to recreate that. And for accessory, this Jennifer comes with another new printed tile of the freshly erased facts from the future. You can't keep a good scientist down. It's Doc Brown back from the future. Past. Well, both. This version of Doc is based on his final appearance in the trilogy, when he returns to 1985 in his steam-powered time train. I really love how this one turned out. He has a recolor of the same combined hat and hairpiece I made for the other Doc Brown in this series, this time with the hat in black, and he is absolutely covered in printing, all over his torso, arms, hips and legs for his Jules Verne inspired outfit, complete with a little gold watch hanging from his waistcoat. And for his accessory, this version of Doc Brown comes with a brand new 2x3 tile of the photograph he gives to Marty of them both in front of the Hill Valley clock back in 1885. For the final two figs in this series, we have Marty McFly and Doc Brown 1985 style. Obviously, LEGO didn't make licensed sets until 1999 with LEGO Star Wars. These versions are meant to be the two main characters in the style they would have been had LEGO made Back to the Future minifigures back in 1985. When designing these, I try my best to emulate the style and level of detail of actual LEGO minifigures from that time. I restricted myself to only using hair pieces that existed back then, and even kept the colour palette true to that time period. For accessories, both minifigs come with a special printed tile with a quote of their character from the first movie. So there you have my LEGO Back to the Future Collectible Minifigures Series 3. 10 minifigures spanning the final movie and 2 commemorative figures celebrating the trilogy as a whole. If I had to pick a favourite, I think it would be Time Train Doc Brown. And whilst I know they might not be for everyone, I honestly really like the retro style Doc and Marty. This is the last in this run of custom LEGO Back to the Future Minifigures series. I've had so much fun creating these. Series 2 was probably my favourite, but I'm really very pleased with how they all turned out. Let me know which is your favourite in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, and if you haven't already, be a legend and hit that subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Laters!